Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of the Mind Muscle Connection podcast. Today's a solo episode, and I have a topic I want to dive into, and that's around biofeedback markers and basically how you feel is going to be more important than what any number tells you. I think this is super important. I want to dive into that, and I think it's often overlooked in body recomp, body transformation programs, whatever it may be there. So first, though, before I go into that, if you want to learn more about a body recomp, what it is, how to do it, the 10 things you need, the 2 types of body recomp, why it's important to focus on body composition, then my free checklist is for you, and the link to that is in the show notes. So definitely go and grab that and check it out there. All right, so let's dive into today's topic. What I want to talk about is I think how you feel is way more important than what any number tells you. Most coaching programs and most apps, or maybe if you're self-coaching, basically somebody wants to change their body composition. They want a body transformation. They want to recomp. They want to add more muscle. They want to lose some body fat, or maybe you just want to build more muscle. Maybe you just want to lose some body fat. They give you a training program and macros, and then they're going to be adjusted based on scale weight and progress pictures. And, like those are going to be the main things. Hey, you want to lose some weight? All right, we need to see the scale weight go down. Scale weight's not going down. Hey, we need to make some adjustments. We need to decrease your calories. You need to eat better. You need to move more. Hey, that's typically how it is. That's going to be all right. What other adjustments you'd see? Again, mostly around scale weight and progress picture. And again, that is important. Like obviously, if we're trying to improve our body composition, we need to make sure that we see that and go in the way we want. But it's not the full picture. And I think this is what most programs and people who are self-coaching, and maybe you have a coach that does just write you training, and maybe it is just a macro coach, or you just got your macros. Like this is what most people are missing from the ability to be able to hey, this is where I'm at. I want to see the body comp change. This is the thing that is often missing. And it's not necessarily a effort issue in most situations, right? We're just not paying attention to the right things. Yes, we want to pay attention to, you want to improve your body comp, you want to lose some body fat, we want to pay attention to scale weight, we want to pay attention to progress pictures, but there's more to it. And I have found that this often leads to just that frustration, burnout, and short-term results. Because when you only look at numbers, you're going to be overlooking how your body is actually responding. And so this is why I have clients track subjective biofeedback each week, how they feel in key areas that are going to impact your energy, recovery, and performance. And to me, this gives us better insight into what's working and what's not, and where to focus effort in the week ahead. I still love data, and I still want to track objective things like steps, resting heart rate, training data, scale weight trends, progress pictures. Those are super important and still a key pillar of what I do with clients inside my coaching program. But if your body's not feeling good, it's not going to be in as good of a spot to change. And I just find that people look at those numbers and then they overlook how their body's feeling. And again, that is super important there. And so we're going to talk about what these things are. In saying this, though, I do have to be upfront in that when you're going to change your body, it's not going to be an easy process. This doesn't mean that everything should be all sunshine and rainbows the entire time, and you shouldn't have to make any sacrifices and you should be feeling good. That's not the case either. There is going to have to be some sacrifice, but I also feel like people don't look at these things, and then that's what leads to they feel like terrible, and they're not seeing the results they want, but then also burnout and not sticking with it long term. And then it's this constant recycle of you try something, half in, don't feel great, stop doing it, completely give up, come back, do it again. And that's that kind of cycle that I see over and over again. All right, so what are the markers that we want to look at to make sure they're in a good spot? Because I feel like if these are in a good spot, that means your body is going to be more effective and efficient at any sort of body comp change that you want to, any sort of adaptation that you want to put under, whether it be a more training side of things, but if it is a body transformation side of things. So first is looking at digestion. So we want to think about things like bloating, constipation, stool quality, pain, frequency of bowel movements, things like that. When digestion is off, it's not just hey, being bloated is uncomfortable. Not having the greatest stool quality is not as rewarding as having good quality stool. It's not only a pain in the ass to have not the greatest bowel movements, but also even from a constipation side, like that can be problematic as well too, right? It can be frustrating. Yeah. And so when digestion's off, like I said, it's not just hey, it doesn't feel good, but it can signal there's probably going to be some nutrient deficiency somewhere along the line, especially if we're not going regularly, we're going too frequently, it's not good quality, it's maybe a little bit more runny. The bloating could be a sign that things are moving slowly through the GI and we may not be absorbing everything. So it could be that is problematic, and that's going to lead to nutrient deficiencies that we would need to look out for and see. And that's obviously going to impact your body composition. It could be a food quality or timing problem. So it could be like you're having these issues because we need to improve our food quality. Maybe our food quality is not great. Maybe it's certain foods that we need to look at. Maybe it's the timing of when we have our foods. Maybe we're eating when we're super rushed, and that's going to impact our digestion. Maybe there's underlying stress or sleep issues that we would need to look at, right? And these are all things that we would want to look into if digestion's not off, because again, if this is off, it's going to impact your body's ability to change. So we need to look at these things, right? So all these are going to affect recovery, energy, and body comp over time. Good gut health is going to equal better absorption, like you're going to absorb the nutrients you give it, better recovery, and consistency. There is a huge link between gut health and mental health and how you feel from day to day, which is going to impact your motivation. These all go hand in hand. And I think if this is off, like that's a sign that we need to look into what is going on here. We have to look into this versus just, oh, hey, you didn't lose weight this week. Let's completely ignore digestion. Let's just drop your calories more. Again, that could be now adding more stress to the body. And then now it's going to lead to more nutrient deficiencies. And it's just going to be this vicious cycle. So we need to look into that there. Looking at energy levels. Who doesn't want to feel good and energized throughout the day? To me, this is like a huge important marker of if you're feeling energized throughout the day, that's probably a good sign that you're sleeping well, you're eating well. So we definitely want to look at this. If energy dips often, we need to look at one, sleep quality and circadian rhythm. Is there anything from there that needs to be dialed in? Because if those things are off, that's going to impact your body composition. It's going to impact your mood and motivation throughout the day. It's going to impact your choices that you make. We would need to look at potentially your caffeine timing. Are you having caffeine too late in the day and that's causing you to get poor sleep? And then now you need more caffeine in the morning. You need more caffeine overall. You have it longer in the day, and that's going to be this vicious cycle with your sleep and circadian rhythm. Is it a training volume and recovery thing? Do we need to alter your training volume? Is it a stress and meal timing thing? Do we need to improve your stress? Do we need to take some stress off the body? Do we need to improve our timing of meals to where maybe we need to have more consistent meals throughout the day that are full meals versus just constantly snacking throughout the day there, right? Because that can impact your energy levels. And then do keep in mind that obviously when we're in a deficit, energy levels could be impacted a little bit. So we're always taking that into context. But my goal is always, I want to make sure that is good at anytime energy levels are low, we just need to look into it a bit more. Low energy is going to equal poor training, right? So you're not going to be able to add muscle as well as you want. You're not going to be able to push your conditioning as well as you want. It's going to lead to you're probably are going to be under recovered overall. And often poor food choices later in the day, right? Because maybe if we have less energy, we're less motivated and we're more like, oh, I just want to eat, and you're less likely to make good choices. To me, if energy is off, it's a sign something in the day and your day-to-day is off, and it's going to impact your ability to change your body. So we need to look into that a little bit more. And again, just decreasing calories or doing more training may not be the answer there. Stress. So stress is going to be another one that I constantly want to check in with clients on. High perceived stress is going to impact almost everything. It's going to impact gut health. We already talked about that. It's going to impact your recovery. It's going to impact your hunger and cravings. It's going to impact your training performance. It's going to impact your sleep quality. It's going to impact your motivation, the choices that you make, right? So high stress is going to equal harder fat loss, slower muscle growth, and worse adherence in choices. There's probably some physiological things going on that are going to impact muscle growth, but it's more so again, it comes down to the choices, how hard you can push yourself. Because I think the big thing with stress that people don't realize is you're almost like your thought process, how your brain works is just in a completely state than when we're in a not stress state. And it's, again, things that you just in the moment you don't really notice. And if you're not aware of, that can really impact you. So like, for example, like in the past for me, when I look back at when I was younger and before I was super aware of this stuff, I could definitely see how times where maybe I didn't feel my greatest or I didn't make the greatest choices, it was definitely stress related. Like your thought process is completely different. And then even in acutely, when there's a super stressful thing going on, it's like the choices you make are going to be completely different. Having a conversation with a client today, she's having some knee pain. She hasn't been able to make the choices she wants to make. But when we dive into it, she's under a huge amount of stress right now. And then that's going to make her pain in her knee feel worse. So that's going to impact her motivation. That's going to impact how she feels about her current job and what she's doing. So stress is super important there. And that's why I always want to check in on this with clients, because it's like, usually when stress is high, that's when it's the weeks where I get the worst feedback in terms of coaching. This was a terrible week. I didn't stick to what I wanted to do. I feel terrible. Things are going backwards. I'm not good at anything. I'm suck at this. I suck at that. And again, it comes down to there's huge mental stress, but then that trickles down to there's probably a lot of stress on the body, and it comes up as like mental stress, this whole web and bucket of things that go into stress on the body. But just understand that the more you have, it's going to impact what you do from day to day. Again, we can't eliminate stress, but we can manage it, and we can better understand how it impacts our choices, right? So in this situation, this would be like, hey, you're not dropping weight. Well, if I don't check in with what is going on in your life, what are some other things that are adding stress to your body? Hey, you know what? Let's just drop calories more and move more and exercise more. Now we're adding more stress, and it's this vicious cycle. So we need to look into this. Sleep. Did you sleep well? Do you feel refreshed? Do you feel tired throughout the day? Again, poor sleep can spiral into higher hunger and cravings, lower training performance, more stress, right? So it's that vicious cycle, lower energy and motivation, worse decision making. When we talk about energy levels, is it a stress thing? Is it a sleep thing? Can that be improved? We need to look into that. So when sleep improves, everything else gets easier. Your training, body comp change, recovery, and even digestion. So we have to look at sleep. Again, if someone's not feeling great, stress was high, I want to look at sleep too, because it's like, hey, you haven't been getting good sleep. That's obviously going to increase your stress response to any stressor that you put on your body. So we have to look at sleep and see what's going on there. And same thing, it's going to put you in a one, if you have something stressful happen, whatever stressful is to you, your body's going to react more to that. And you're also, and now stress is higher. That's also going to impact your choices. So again, you can just see where it's this vicious cycle. Hey, let's just decrease your calories and move forward. Again, not what we want to do there. Also, we want to look at training performance. Like, how's that going? Are you feeling good in your training? Are you getting stronger? Are you recovering well? Because if this is the case, your overall inputs are likely in a good place, right? If performance is dipping, then we need to look at, okay, is it a training and volume thing that maybe we need to adjust that? What is your recovery and sleep? So we come back to that. What's your food quality and meal timing? Can we improve that to help with your training performance? Where's your stress at? High stress is going to impact your training performance. What about your macro setup? Do we need to maybe have more carbs? Do we need to have more carbs around your workouts? So performance is going to tell us whether your systems is balanced or overextended, and we can look into that. Again, with a caveat of when you have a hardcore body comp change, say a fat loss phase or a deficit, that's going to impact you're not going to feel as good in your training. So you have to keep that in consideration. We want to look at, I also like to look at hunger and cravings. So if hunger is high, I want to look at what's sleep quality, what's stress, what's your food quality, what's your meal timing and macro balance. Again, if you're dieting, there's going to be some hunger, but extreme or erratic hunger means something is off somewhere. We need to look into it. If hunger is low while you're in a deficit and not seeing results, you might not actually be in a true calorie deficit, right? There could be some sort of adaptation, tracking errors, whatever it may be. Hunger can also be helpful in that sense of, okay, you're not dropping weight, but you're not hungry. There's a chance that maybe you're just consuming more calories and you might think you're consuming less, but if hunger is not low, or sorry, if hunger is not high, you're not feeling any hunger at all in deficit, there's something going on there that I want to look at as well too. So again, it can be helpful from that standpoint. And then cravings often follow the same patterns, right? Poor sleep, high stress, and low food quality tend to drive them up. So it's okay, hey, there's nothing wrong with you. It's just you've been super stressed. You haven't been making, and that leads to not the greatest food choices. That's going to, both of those things are going to spike up cravings. That's why things are high. Oh, hey, another one's looking at a menstrual cycle from female perspective. All right, it is that time where cravings tend to rise for you. So that could be what's going on there, right? And then the other one I want to look at is motivation, right? We don't rely on motivation, but it is a useful subjective measurement for the bigger picture, right? When motivation is low, it's often the symptom, not the problem. Maybe again, it's stress, sleep, poor recovery, or just unclear goals. Maybe you need to get clear on what your goal. So when clients feel good physically and mentally, motivation naturally stays higher. And when motivation is higher, they're more likely to stick to what we're doing there. And so to me, if you're feeling good, that means you're more likely to stick to what you're doing. Your body's in a good spot to get more out of what you want to do to it. And so that's why we need to look at these things, because if you're not feeling good, your body's probably not in the greatest spot to want to adapt. And so we need to look at what are the things that are the bottleneck there with that. So as I said, you could have all the tracking in the world, steps, HRV, macros, lab tests, but nothing's going to replace subjective biofeedback, right? So we even take lab work. How you feel is still super important. A lot of times people will be like, yeah, I got my lab work done and everything's good. It's okay, but you don't feel as great as you could. There's something like you're telling me you don't feel great. Like that, to me, that's more important than what lab work says as well too there. But like I said, when you feel good, you're more consistent, and consistency, not perfection, is really what's going to drive long-term body comp improvement and health. Because if we feel better, you're just going to be more likely to do it. And ultimately, when you can put together multiple years of doing the things, that's what's going to lead to your actual body comp change over time. And so that's why I use these biofeedback markers every week. I need to decide where to focus so clients can look, feel, and perform their best, instead of just, oh, you didn't see the results you want, let's just push harder there. That's not great either. So I hope this was helpful. I hope this gave you some insight into maybe I do need to start tracking these and watching them. And this isn't just, oh yeah, I thought about my digestion, it's good, it's okay. No, you need to have some sort of system to checking this and seeing trends versus just, yep, I check it, we talk about it, or whatever it may be. Like, no, what was your stress like 3 weeks ago? Is that better now? If you can't tell me that and you're just going off of, yeah, it felt, no, we're terrible at remembering those things. And especially the more stress we have, the worse our sleep is, things like that, they add up, and you're also not thinking as clearly as well too. And you tend to forget things a bit more. I hope this was helpful. If you have any questions on this episode, follow me on Instagram, Jeff, HOEHN_. That's where I'm most active on social media. And if you found this podcast to be helpful in any way, if you could leave a rating and review, and that will help more people find it. Appreciate you guys. Talk to you soon.